Now, Chito Gascon, the chairman of the National Commission on Human Rights.
Thank you, Marco. And on the onset, I want to thank DRC Net Foundation and all the other sponsors of this meeting for organizing this. And I'm also grateful to all of you for coming. We appreciate your interest in what's happening in the country. I'm very conscious about time, so I will be direct to the point. The president of the country himself declared this as a war on drugs. And as a result of this war, the number of deaths related to this prosecution of drugs and drug traffickers and drug addicts is an unprecedented number of killings in terms of pace and scale. Over 8 months now, close to 8,000 have been killed. A third of that have been killed by the admission of the police themselves in what they ostensibly refer to as lawful police operations. The local term they use is nanlaban, or they fought back and so they got killed. So the self-defense argument is raised. And 2/3 of those that have been killed, and the term used by the government itself is DUI, not driving under influence, but deaths under investigation, ostensibly committed by unknown assailants, possibly an internecine drug gang war, or possibly death squads or some other assailant. So that's the number. And I say unprecedented in terms of pace and scale, because we have not seen this, not even during the authoritarian period. In fact, we have long passed the number of those killed in this war on drugs compared to those that had been killed in the first year of the authoritarian period. Our friend from Thailand, the Prime Minister, said that their government 10 years ago prosecuted the same war on drugs and close to 3,000 had been killed over an 18-month period. This is 8,000 over 8 months. So that is the challenge we have. Now, we welcome the statements made by the Philippine government in the conference here that they will affirm human rights, that they will have an inclusive and comprehensive approach. But the first step is to declare a halt on the killings. The next is, as Alison highlighted, the importance of investigating thoroughly and prosecuting those that have been part of these killings. Unfortunately, unless our friends from the Philippines here, from the government, can clarify, to our knowledge, in the Commission on Human Rights, 8 months since the start of this war on drugs, not a single police officer has been charged in court. The law on the police established an internal affairs service that is duty-bound by the law to immediately investigate any instance of a discharge of a firearm and a death resulting from lawful police operations. And yes, the Internal Affairs Service has conducted what they refer to as administrative investigations. But that is essentially dribbling the ball, because 8 months after, not a single police officer has been charged in court. Why? Because they essentially take the nanlaban or self-defense argument as basis for washing their hands. That is not the case, because a commissioner in the Commission on Human Rights, that's a colleague of mine, was a former undersecretary of the Department of Justice. And she told me the previous policy in the Department of Justice is when there is an admission by a police officer that they had in fact killed someone in the course of a police operation, that person must be brought to court, because the self-defense defense is a matter for the courts to determine in specific cases. But the reality is, not a single police officer that has already admitted is being held accountable. And we are also calling for investigation of the 2/3, because there is no progress there as well. As has been mentioned by two previous speakers, we are a party to the International Criminal Court. I am still a believer in our justice system, but this justice system must be allowed to work. First instance, law enforcement must do a serious investigation. Second instance, they must cooperate with the Commission on Human Rights. We are currently conducting, of the 7,000 plus killed, about 500 of our own investigations. And at every stage of our own investigations, we have received non-cooperation from the police. We ask for documents, they ignore the giving of these documents. And so if the Philippine government is serious about protecting human rights, if the Philippine government is serious at ensuring that it will not fall under the category of one state that is unwilling and unable to prosecute these cases, thereby triggering the possibility of going to the International Criminal Court, we ask them to stop the killings, we ask them to fully investigate with the view to prosecution and convictions. And ultimately, and there's the opportunity of this forum here, they really need to move away from a primarily strongman, law and order approach to this problem to a more comprehensive harm reduction approach. And we hope that this dialogue in this session as well as elsewhere will help contribute to that purpose. Thank you very much. Good afternoon.